Hi, it's Will from StormTheCastle.com, and here on YouTube you know me, Surfing Fantasy, and this is my latest tutorial. This is how to set up a goldfish tank, how to keep goldfish. I had goldfish when I was a kid, I loved them, and it's great to return back to them. If you want to have an aquarium, goldfish are a good place to start because they're pretty hardy and reasonably easy to take care of, but there are a few rules of thumb and some things you should do. And in this tutorial, we'll set up a tank, and I'll tell you how to care for them. Dioramas, origami, catapults, and treasure shades, telescopes, terrariums, bonsai trees, and paper games, swords and shields, and real blacksmithing, rattle rockets, animation. I teach the art of real creation. StormTheCastle.com. Let's make something. Okay, so let's take a look at the things you need to get your goldfish going. You need a tank. Mine is a 10-gallon. Some gravel for the bottom, which is optional. You don't have to have gravel. A filter unit, which you plug into the wall, filters the water. Some chemicals to treat the water. And then your accessories. And the gravel is actually optional, and so are the accessories. Some people, and I noticed that professionals that take care of fish often like to have nothing in their tank. It makes things a lot easier to keep stuff clean, that's for sure. But clean the inside of your tank with just plain water. You don't want to use any chemicals because that can contaminate the water and harm your fish. The outside is fine. You can wash it with some kind of a glass cleaner. But the inside, don't use any chemicals. And then add your gravel if you're going with gravel. And the rule of thumb is 1 pound of gravel per gallon of water in your tank. So I have a 10-gallon tank. I am using 10 pounds of gravel. And it comes in all different colors, all different shapes and sizes. And I picked this because it just seemed like the bottom of a riverbed. So I like this particular style of gravel. They make a neon glowing gravel, which is kind of neat. I've looked at it in the aquarium stores. It's really kind of snazzy. There's an old-fashioned word for you. So let's take a look at the filter. Don't worry about this. You can pick these up cheap. They work really well and they're easy to set up. It's just a little pump with some filters in it. You set it up and you plug it in, and the water in the tank filters through it. But there are 3 major components here. There's this thing called the bio bag, which has the outer sleeve, which is kind of like a cloth that acts as a filter, the white stuff. Inside there is charcoal that you put in it, and that chemically filters everything. It absorbs chemicals. And then you have this, which is a bioscreen, which is very important. It's like a sponge. And that black bioscreen there is very, very important because beneficial bacteria will colonize on that. And that beneficial bacteria actually keeps the water clean, removes ammonia from your water. So that black screen is very, very important. And you just rinse it with some water. So you put together a couple of pieces of the tube for this particular type of filter. It's a Tetra filter for 5 to 10 gallon tanks. And you snap it in. Like that. And you put it on the edge of the tank with the electrical cord on the outside, of course. So what will happen is the water will be sucked up in that tube, pass through our 3 different filters there, and return to the tank nice and clean. And you should always prime your filter. Priming means fill it up with water so it can get started. If there's no water in there, sometimes the filter won't get going correctly. It needs a jump start. So go ahead and add all your various things, and this is a fun part about an aquarium because you can kind of customize it to the kind of look you want. I didn't really customize it much to the kind of look I want. I just went with various things that somebody gave me, and I think I bought that plant there. But over time you can change it, look for different, get a different look, try different themes. It's one of the fun things about an aquarium. And these eggs here actually glow in the dark. It's kind of neat at night. So now you add your water. In my case, 10 gallons of water. And you should always, if possible, talk to the people at your local aquarium where you bought the stuff, where they keep fish and they sell fish. about the water in your area. They will know, hey, you know, there's a lot of chlorine in the water, there's a lot of this. Here's what chemical you should use to prepare the water for your fish. And you should, even though you've prepared your water, you should wait 1 to 2 weeks before buying your fish. Let that beneficial bacteria build up in the tank. That's called cycling. So just turn it on and let it run for 1 to 2 weeks before you put your goldfish in. Sorry to say that. People love to get the tank and the goldfish at the same time. And you can do that, and I'll show you something. Tetra makes a product called Safe Start. And that adds the this isn't the Safe Start, this is Aqua Start. This is just to process the water, take out the chlorine and to get it started. But if you use something called Safe Start by the same company, and I do have links to that, Safe Start, it adds the necessary bacteria so you can actually add your goldfish right away. So there we go. Now you're going to pick up your goldfish and they're going to be in a bag like this. And let me show you what you should do. You shouldn't just pour them in your tank. It could shock them because of the difference in temperatures. So what you should do is hang that bag in the tank, and they're kind of looking around. They don't know what the heck is going on. Hang it in the tank like this for about 10 minutes and let the temperature differential even out so the temperatures are the same for them. It'll be less of a shock. And if you have a little net, once you do take them out, you should actually scoop them and then place them in the tank without getting that bag water into the tank. I didn't do that, but I didn't have a net at the time. But that's okay, because there's a lot of ammonia in that bag right now, and you don't want to put that ammonia in your tank. So if you have a net, once your 10 minutes is up, scoop the goldfish and then put them in the tank and dispose of the bag water. But like I said, if you don't have a net, then just gently let them go from the bag to the tank. And they're all excited. They're like, hey, all right, I get room to move around. And they did fine. There you go. Yay, freedom. And they're all discombobulated because the tank water is swirling around and they're like all exhausted and they're fighting against the flow from the thing. But hey, there's your new home. See them struggling? I actually moved that filter to a different spot so it'd be less current, less of a struggle for them. Alright, so let's talk about feeding. You know, a lot of people have questions about feeding. And when you buy goldfish food, there's a few different types. It'll tell you right on the container how to feed them, how much to feed them. Typically, you use a pinch like this, and you monitor the fish. You know, once a day, maybe twice a day. That's not a pinch. I'm just showing you the flakes there. And you monitor them because at first they'll be real enthusiastic and they'll eat, and then they'll kind of lose interest and slow down. And if there's still food, when they've slowed down and lost interest, you're overfeeding them. You'll know next time to use a little bit less. So let's take a look. See the goldfish flakes? Some people like flakes and some people like pellets. The flakes float on the top and the pellets fall to the bottom. And there's benefits to both, and there's pros and cons with each one. But once or twice a day, a little bit of a pinch. And I'll show you that again. I showed you in the beginning feeding them. Here we go. Hello. And goldfish are beggars. They see you walking around and they think you're going to feed them, so they will start getting all excited looking at you. Like this, see? They're like, hey, we're going to get... Yep, and sure enough, I fed them. So there you go. The goldfish are famous for being beggars. They'll keep an eye on you and watch you from inside the tank and then get all excited and swim over to where you are on the hopes that maybe you're going to feed them. I get a kick out of it. So that's it. So now, maintaining your tank. You can take a little sample of water, put it in some kind of small container, bring it to your aquarium, and have them test it. You got to watch out for things like ammonia, which is the excretion of the goldfish, because those levels can build up a lot, and then you have to neutralize that with a chemical. Or you can buy test strips, where you just put it in the water, and then you compare it on a chart to see where the ammonia levels are at. And different chemicals. There's a few different types of test strips. I have the test strips, and I have instructions on what they do and how to use them on my website. But it's all about maintaining a healthy water. See, so then you compare the color to a thing on the bottle, a chart on the bottle. And come on, let me raise that bottle up so we can see it. Darn it. I'm not. And there we go. So you can see it, and you can see where your levels are. And that way you can adjust the water accordingly with a chemical. But that's something you should do often to make sure the water is nice and healthy. And then one more thing is that you should, and professionals do this once a week, you should do a water change. And that means what you do is you take out 1/3 to 1/2 of the water by siphoning it out or pumping it out. And see, I'm using the siphon here to actually clean the gravel. And they make a gravel cleaner, which is kind of neat. I have one. I don't show you in this tutorial. And then you replace the water to fill it back up and treat it again with your water treatment. So that's it for long-term health of your fish. You should do that often. Thanks for watching. Lots of goldfish stuff on our website. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing to my channel. If you're not a subscriber, hit that button. I always have lots of fun and interesting and very creative projects. I do 2 new ones every week. As an example, here's a couple more videos you might want to watch.